see if I can use their phone, has turned off, but then a light turns on inside. Now last time I creeped around the house, but I'm going to do it again, because last time there was a light on inside a window, and I went up to that window to see, and it was a kitchen. I saw two people talking inside, and this time I'm going to see if I can enter the house without anyone knowing. You walk up to a large window, which looks as though it may not be quite closed, but there are heavy bars across it. Even if you were able to open the window, you could never manage to squeeze through the bars. The house is certainly well protected from intruders. Do you want to continue around the house? Do you want to return to the front door? I might as well return to the front door, and there was no difference between using the pull rope and the knocker, so I'll just use the pull rope. The butler, I've forgotten his name, but he comes and he invites me in, and he's like, the master's waiting for you to come inside, and I sit inside, and there are some paintings on the wall, and the first time I looked at the painting of the beautiful young woman wearing a tiara, and she told me not to drink the white wine. The second time I looked at the picture of the middle-aged portly gentleman wearing half-moon glasses, and he was like glancing at the door, like glancing at it. So this time I'm going to look at the elderly woman with grey hair and a cold expression. You step up to a portrait of the Duchess of Brewster, 1777 to 1845. She looks a stern old woman with an icy stare, a lady of the nobility, no mistake. But as you stare, her image seems to shimmer. You blink and try to look away, but you cannot. Within the shimmering face, you can see small movements, and your jaw drops as the portrait's eyes turn towards you. You gain 1 fear point from the fright. The woman's lips start to move, and you hear a voice saying, "Stranger, you have innocently stumbled into a cursed place. Would that I could bid you escape, but alas, you cannot. There is evil and suffering within these walls, and you may only escape by destroying it. But that is almost impossible. I can tell you this though, you have an ally close by who may be able to help. This man is dressed in a grey robe. If you can find him, you may together free this house from the evil that controls it." With these words, the shimmering stops. You rub your eyes and look again. The painting is still. Okay, so he comes in and he's like, "Oh, I tell him what's happened." He's like, "Oh, how horrible, filthy storm," or Franklin's like, what the fuck's the name? So we sit down in the drawing room and there's a fire burning, and he offers me a glass of brandy, and the first time I waited to see what he had to say, and he got angry with me, and that scared me, and I got a fear point. When I relaxed and drank brandy, it was fine, so I'm just going to do it again. And I lose a fear point for that, which is good. So he explains to the what happened on the road, and you like to use a telephone. "I'm afraid a telephone line came down tonight in the storm," he replies, which is a complete lie. "We will have it repaired tomorrow morning. In any case, the carriage would not come out here at this hour. But don't worry, you're perfectly welcome to spend the night here. I'm glad of the company. Tomorrow Franklin's will take you into town." Here is Franklin's now, and the butler announces that the meal's ready. And "Which wine do you want to drink?" So I've got the red wine. And first time I had lamb, second time I had duck. I feel like if I do this, he's just gonna get angry with me, and I'm just gonna get scared. So I might as well just eat. So then, while we're eating dinner, he tells me about the place. He's the Earl of Crowmore, the last survivor of his family. It was once a prosperous place that provided a wealthy income, but then his sister, at the age of 32, died under mysterious circumstances. She was found dead in the clearing with strange marks on her neck, and the peasants started to believe that it was witchcraft and black magic, and that the place was cursed. So the farmers moved to new pastures, avoiding the state, and that's ended with the place kind of falling apart and them losing lots of money. So the first time I had cheese, coffee and brandy, the second time cheese and coffee, both times didn't go well, so I'll just try the fruit coffee and brandy, why not? Franklin's brings them to you, and you finish off your meal. "Well, my friend," says the Earl, "you must be quite tired now. It is well past midnight. Franklin's will show you to your room." You thank him and follow the butler out of the dining room. "This way, if you please." let's leave the room. The door is locked. It seems that your hosts certainly don't want you prowling around the house. Do you want to try and break down the door, or would you like to climb back into bed? If you would prefer, you could pretend to go to bed, switch out the light, and wait to see what happens. Oh, I would do that. You wait in the darkness. Apart from the rain driving against the window, the house is silent. How long will you have to wait before someone appears? All night. The thought of sitting in the darkness all night makes you a little uneasy, and you gain one fear point. But then you hear a shuffling noise in the corridor outside your room. You can hear slow footsteps approaching your room. They stop outside the room, and a key rattles as it unlocks your door. You must quickly decide what to do. Do you jump into bed and pretend to be asleep? Or do you hide behind the door, surprise whoever it is about to come in? I thought I was already in bed pretending to be asleep, but let's, why not? The door opens slowly and a man shuffles into the room carrying a glass containing a clear liquid. He appears to be bent double and his movements are slow. As he gets nearer to the bed, you realise he will soon notice that you are not there. Do you want to nip out of the room quickly and lock the door behind you, or will you leap on the man and attack him? Well, he's got the key. I know he's left the key at the door. But if I lock him in, he's just going to start screaming, so... Your visitor is a hunchback, and he is both surprised and frightened as you leap on him. You must fight. Okay, so... Our skill is lower. Oh no, we lost the first one. The hunchback hits you. Damn it, I'm just gonna test my luck. Unlucky, the wound is worse than you thought. Take one more damage. Damn it, I'm actually gonna die here. Okay, okay. I've only gotta do one more. I'm actually going to die from this. The hunchback puts his hands up and steps backwards. I thought I was actually just gonna... I mean, I suppose I'm just like normal fight, like punching him, I suppose. The poor, miserable creature pleads for mercy. He is such a pitiful sight that you step back as he grovels on the floor. Pitiful? Is he not just a person with a hunched back? Or is this like a creature that I'm confused. He's such a pitiful sight that you step back as he grovels on the floor. He will do you no harm and thanks you continually for saving his life. Okay, let's try and get some questions out of him. Some answers out of him. He is terrified of you and agrees to answer your questions in exchange for his miserable life. How do you escape from the house? About the people in the house? What is happening in the house? prison knife as his only weakness, and before she can tell any more information, two giant ghost greyhounds come and overpower her. So I'm going to assume that's that room, and I'm going to follow the landing around to the left. Yeah, because this is so that was correct. You consider your best plan as you walk down the passageway. You turn right along the landing, and two doors are on your left. The first has Azazel written on its nameplate, and the second, Mephisto. Do you want to try either of these rooms? So, the Azazel room, inside some of the drawers, is a weapon. The door opens and you peer into the room. You quickly check that there is no one inside, and you're relieved to find it's empty, but full of clutter. It seems to be a crude scientific laboratory of some sort. A brass telescope points through the window towards the sky. Charts and mathematical tables are pinned to the walls. A human skeleton hangs from a hook, and a bench is covered with glass-filed apparatus. They look like priceless antiques, and they were all probably made in the last century. So yes, I'm going to investigate the room further. You step into the room and close the door behind you. A squeaking noise from one corner makes you jump, but when you walk over, you're relieved to find that the squeaking comes from 3 rats in a cage. You keep your eyes peeled for the sound of visitors as you investigate the contents of the room. So we should look through the drawers. In a drawer underneath the bench, you find a few ornate letter openers. Perhaps they are someone's collection. You're particularly interested because they are strong and dagger-like. In fact, they could easily make dangerous weapons. You take one, which can be used as a weapon, allowing your skill score to increase to its initial value if you were to use it in a fight. What am I, Sorry, I'm using a trackpad. Already down to 12. Only one bit though, so that's going quite well. Suddenly your ears prick up at the sound of the footsteps coming closer. You nip into the shadows and wait. The footsteps stop outside the door, and you can hear 2 voices talking. Hadn't we better ask the master's permission? One asks. Maybe you're right, and we better get a light for the lamps. You breathe a sigh of relief as the footsteps disappear off in the direction from which you approach the room. You decide it is best to leave before they return, and you open the door on the landing. The safest way to go, it strikes you, is away from the 2 visitors, which may return at any moment. There is another door a couple of meters up the landing on the left. This is the door to the Mephisto room. If you wish to enter this door, why you may pass it towards. So from my notes, from my previous playthroughs, the Mephisto door only opens a little. The handle turns and the door opens a little, but it's caught on something and will not open any further. And I decided to leave it, but this time I'm just going to go for it. You heave the door with your shoulder, the wood creaks and it opens a little further, enough to let you into the room. It is small and bare, and a cold, damp wind swirls through it, billowing the curtains. The window pane is smashed, and the floor beneath the window is sodden from the rain. You look around, but there is nothing unusual in the room, apart from a frayed length of knotted rope. You take this with you and leave. As you pull the door to you, you find a piece of glass wedged underneath it, which is making it stick. came in with the clear liquid. I assumed it was this clear liquid, but it turns out he thought I was a friend, which means I think I should drink the liquid. You taste the liquid, it is white wine. You drink some more and it warms you. You start to feel a little lightheaded and dizzy. Then suddenly you feel a stab of pain in your stomach and you double over. But there is no relief from this pain, because you have drunk poisoned wine. In a few moments you will lose consciousness, and in 5 minutes you'll be dead. You will never make tomorrow's appointment after all. What is happening tomorrow? What is this appointment? Why is it so important? I died so fast. I think I should try. I think I should keep going. I think that was such a fast death that I did a part when people were asking preferably for longer videos. So oh, I completely was not paying attention. So number is 19. So yeah, people were asking for longer videos, so I may as well keep going. I'm really 8 again. Okay, so what was it? Because I was not paying attention. So stamina is 19, fear is 8. Skill is 7 out of 10, luck is 11 out of 11. Okay, so let's keep going. I'll just knock on the front door, because we've learned there's not really much we can do outside. I've already studied the paintings. I might as well try and hunt for the telephone. There is no telephone in the hallway, and you feel uneasy about venturing into any of the rooms. While you're wondering what to do, you hear a noise coming from behind one of the doors. You rush back to the chair and sit down. Okay, Randy, oh no, need to click the white wine, yeah, sure. Okay, the fruit one is fine. Okay. So I do this again, and I find out the door is locked. So I pretend to be in bed, even though I lose a fear point from that. I rush behind the door, and then this time I'm going to nip out the room quickly and lock the door behind you. You are on a landing overlooking the entrance hall. To your right, the passageway ends at a door. To the left, the landing turns right past a couple of doors. So I'm just going to go straight to the right. Oh yes, sorry, I forgot where I was. I thought I was coming out of the other room where I was bound, not the actual room that I'm actually sleeping in. Okay. At the end of the corridor ahead of you is a stout wooden door. While you are considering whether or not to try this room, a noise behind you startles you. You spin around, only to find the wind is rustling wall hangings. There is nothing to be afraid of. You turn back and are amazed to find a faint white figure has appeared in front of you. This apparition is a young woman in her early 20s with long flowing hair. She is dressed in a white bridal dress which has seen better days. It is ripped and torn. You get 1 fair point. Oh, thank God I have found you in time, she says. I must talk to you immediately. Come, let us go into this room. And then follow into the room. To enter the room, she passes right through the door. You, of course, must use more traditional methods. You turn the handle and walk into the volume room. It is an elegant bedroom. Fine floor-length curtains hang along one wall. An enormous bed with lace coverings is against another wall, and opposite stands a beautiful dressing table with a huge mirror. The woman hovers in the centre of the room and bids you to sit down on the bed. Your coming here has been no accident, she starts, and I must warn you of the terrible dangers you will face here. The house is ruled by the Master, a powerful black priest of the night named Kelnor, Earl of Drumore. I would guess that you ought to be offered to the demons of Hellfire, if you survived that long. Yesterday they trapped a girl, a pretty young district nurse who happened to call. She is to be offered tonight. I cannot let this devilry continue. There must be some way it can be stopped. If you can find the Chris knife, you might be able to defeat Kelnor, for this weapon is his only weakness. Please help me. is a bedroom, and a large bed covered with a yellow bedspread dominates the room. Clothes are strewn about the floor, and a tap is running in a wash basin in the corner. The clothes suggest it is a woman's room, but no one is about. Will you call out to announce yourself in case anyone is in the room, or will you search around to see what you find? I will search around and see what I find. You walk over to the mantelpiece and study the trinkets scattered along it. A couple of lacquer boxes and a picture frame with no picture flank a large plant pot with a broad-bladed plant growing in it. In the grate below are several lumps of coal resting on a bed of paper, a fire all ready to light. But something else is in the grate. A black and white photograph has been thrown on the coil. A black and white photograph has been thrown on the coals. I want to both check the contents of the boxes and the photograph. Let's check the contents of the boxes first. The boxes contain jewellery. Most of it is quite gaudy, but one ring in particular looks as though it may be valuable. It is a gold band with rubies around it. You bend over and hold it up to the candle to try to read an inscription running along the inside rim. It says, "To dearest Margaret from George, 1834. You slip this into your pocket. You hear a rustling from the curtain and straighten up to look towards the window. You shudder with fright as the curtains open before you. Just as quickly they shut again. Then there is silence. You walk slowly over and grab them, but they're perfectly ordinary curtains. You gain one fair point from the shock. Now do you wish to leave the room, or will you try to work out the mystery of the curtains? Well, I'd like to look at the photograph, but okay. As you are puzzling over the curtains, you reach out to lean on the bed, but as you rest your weight on the bedpost, the whole bed shifts aside and crashes down on the floor. This is all very strange and a little scary. face each other across the passage, and you may try the door on the left, so the Belial room, or the door on the right, to the Abaddon room. Straight ahead, the passageway continues for a few metres before ending in an unmarked door. Also, I want the Abaddon room. It was something Abaddon. I should have written it down. You enter a bedroom which is lit by a single candle burning by the bedside. A heavy, musty odour hangs in the air, which could come from all the plants which are standing in pots on the mantelpiece, bedside table, dressers and shelves. Whoever used this room certainly liked plants, but another sight catches your attention and stops you in your tracks. Asleep on the bed is an old woman. It seems that she has not heard you, for she has not moved since you entered the room. Do you wish to leave her in peace? Do you want